Hello everyone and welcome. Simon here from the Wells of Wall Street. We have BEPRO here on our radar. So before we go into the chart, we'll try and keep this video quite short because we've got loads of videos to get through. But of course we haven't done one for BEPRO in a while. Let's draw the attention quickly to the AMA that's available on BEPRO Network.medium.com. So go check that out. Some really interesting questions were asked. And it might answer some questions to people who are maybe lacking confidence towards the likes of BEPRO. I think this is a fantastic project. Go check out our videos at the end of this one as to our. I think we did a top 5 reasons why we love BEPRO a while back, a few months ago now. There's still a few things on the roadmap that perhaps haven't come into fruition by the end of this year, but that's kind of expected. Most roadmaps do that, but it's still on there. And there's a lot to come, in my opinion, for 2022 with BEPRO as well. And I quite liked the aspect of what they were talking about, re-emphasizing their impact in the back end, as it were, with the JavaScript protocols that they're building, allowing this kind of open source mechanism for developers. Anyone out there who's a developer, in my opinion, should be looking at BEPRO Network to encourage the enhancement of it, get rewarded in BEPRO as well. I think it's a phenomenal system. And the early adoption, if you're an early adopter or an early user of this development kit, I think it would do wonders for you in your career, of course. But more importantly, for the ecosystem, I think it's going to be a massive thing for all these people being there as the fundamental heart, if you like, of the project. So loads of things to focus on. Mentioning a few here: the gaming, the NFTs, the DeFi space, of course. Prediction markets is one of their key strong areas. Certainly since they changed their naming quite recently. I think it was earlier this year or the year before, or later the year before. But yeah, prediction market, of course, is massive. We talk about things like esports or what's going to happen in the future and the algorithm behind that. It's really quite interesting. We do cover that in the one of the videos that we did previously, so go check those out. But yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I think a lot of people have been really frustrated over the last few months for BEPRO, and I think actually in general of most projects. I think it's quite funny how people, I don't know what it is, but like people when they're investing stuff, it's like people think we're playing a game of FIFA or something, and like we should be winning all the time. I don't know, but it's like people just getting frustrated. I'm like, well, hang on a minute. Like, don't get me wrong. Obviously, everyone wants to make money in the market, but you got to also look long term. You can't just look for a quick win like within 1 year. And you got to understand where you are in the chart, perspective when you're entering, and not get frustrated because it's dropped down. Like, just wait for it to come back up. It's going to come back up. I think BEPRO. I mean, you were going to the chart in a minute, but I still strongly believe we'll get to at least 20 cents in the upcoming bull run for BEPRO. And I think it will tie in nicely with some of the developments of BEPRO in 2022 that's on their roadmap that was discussed in this AMA as well. Like I said, it doesn't always come into fruition when they exactly say it will, but at least the fact of the matter is that they continue to develop to achieve that. That's what you want to see in a project. You want to see the future being developed. And more people are coming onto this. We've also got the bounty or the grant mechanism in place, giving people the opportunity to test the protocol, both from trying to hack it as well as improve it. I think it's incredible. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the future of this. Of course, they released as well the white labeling aspect. So there's like a concept that we covered in the intro video of like, if you want to utilize them as a service and use BEPRO's their category of people involved for you can do that. But if you've already got a system in place but you just want to use their coding aspects, you can do that as well. I think that's really important. As we talk about Web 3.0, obviously very much coming into fruition right now, BEPRO is going to be one of those gigantic projects in the background that's really helping with the developing, the coding. And also, on the side of this, because I love education and stuff anyway, I think it's going to be developing a lot of people, the next generation of people, really getting involved in Web 3.0 in such an easy manner. I say easy. I have an absolute Scooby-Doo how any of this coding and stuff works. But I understand it, but I don't know how it works. I don't know how I do it myself. But that's why I have great respect for people that can do it. And BEPRO is one of those massive projects. Not only do you get paid in the BEPRO for doing this, and you can obviously convert it to other currencies, this, that, and the other, whatever you want to do, but more importantly, it's just like the development of the future. And so many projects and applications, dApps, whatever it is, will be built on these kind of protocols and development platforms. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So go check out this AMA is really interesting. But yeah, we do cover BEPRO whenever we can. It's obviously some people have been absolutely hammering it on social media recently. How towards negativity towards it. I'm just like, well, look, the price is the price. Everyone's obviously given up because they put in so much money, a few months ago. We'll ride the storm because I think we're on our way back up. And let's have a look at that actually right now as we get into that topic. Smash the like button if you like what you hear and see, and make sure you subscribe if you're not done so already. We are nearly on 5,000. I'm sorry, still can't believe it. To be honest, absolutely crazy. Nearly 5,000 people. So the chart here, guys, for BEPRO is looking really positive. How are we telling that? Well, obviously with a few days of green, taking us up nearly 30% over the last 3 or 4 days, which was really good to see. We've obviously seen that before on numerous occasions, so I'm not getting massively excited. But what I like about this is his staggered approach. With a lot of the ones previously, we've had kind of like really big pump ups. We say big, it's not gigantic, but it looks visually, if you know what I mean. You have these nice like small J's going on, but I like the fact that this is taking its time. And we're coming up to some really interesting points. So if I just open this up a bit more so you can see what I'm talking about. So what I'm referring to here is this really interesting point. So as of now, like earlier today, obviously we've hit the rough sort of high points. What was it today? 0.0070. Okay, but this is kind of matching really around this area here in the past. But more importantly for me is this area. So this is where we had the resistance before, came up, but couldn't support that at all. We dropped back down because the confidence clearly, when you see that kind of move, it's understandable that people are going to take profits. And then once you get back to this barrier, it's very much like very easy and quick to jump through. And especially in days like this, I think 6th of December, 5th of December was when we had the Bitcoin leveraging failures and all the other things going on in the market. So that again is kind of, understandable from that aspect. So that dragged it down like it did with the rest of the market. It's no dissimilar to other charts that you look at with other assets. But I like this. I like this U-shaped beginning. I'm not expecting this to go full blown up here because we're at the end of the year. There's not going to be massive announcements in the next couple of weeks, in my opinion. But certainly for the beginning of next year, I think this is where we'll start seeing it. So we're going to see some retaliation as we get to this area. There's no doubt about it. Like we said, this is going to be a resistance point around this sort of 7.7 mark. But if we can get around that, and I think we would, over maybe these next couple of weeks, get there and then probably drop down a bit, test it underneath it slightly again at that 7 mark again, 0.007, and then take it up. Because I think the bull run probably is going to come in the next few months, in my opinion. But let's look, again, touching back here. So we've obviously got that area there. We've got this area here in sort of third quarter of September, with breakthroughs here and here, like absolutely dramatic. So it's really, if you look at the history of BEPRO, look how far we've come. By the way, guys, for those that don't think BEPRO's moved at all, and even to its current position, this is crazy. Forget the all-time high, which was like, I think it was it 7 cents or something? Maybe it was a bit higher than that. Let's have a quick look. 4.7, sorry. So 4.7 cents, obviously massive. But this point here from around January, February time, earlier this year, this mark, as we are where we are now, is nearly 2,000% from that previous point. Obviously, it's a lot higher if you take into consideration the higher ones up here, where a lot of people made money, hence the big drop. And actually, if you think about it strategically here, if we just pull this back down, you see what I mean? We've gone from this ridiculous number of 0.0007. We've taken it up. BEPRO had some great announcements earlier this year, and the market in general was fantastic. But there's no support here. There's just price discovery, and we've just completely moved our way down. It's obviously taken 2-3 months to do, which it does generally do in most crypto assets charts. You'd see like a 3-month process, right? So we're very nicely actually testing, as we said, 1, 2. These two are crazy areas, but this one's really interesting because clearly it was like, this was very undervalued anyway for its future, but this was where we had some really interesting testing ground. So in my opinion, I think this is a really critical area that we're approaching right now in these coming weeks. So what I'm looking forward to seeing is the retaliation in, say, the next week or two as to whether this bounces back off this and comes back down again for a retest and jumps up, or whether it will go across it, humping back down and then up again. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops. But one thing's for sure in my mind, I'm super impressed with BEPRO. I'm in it for the long run. I'm probably talking about maybe 5 to 10 years time as Web 3.0 develops, as protocols develop, and what BEPRO will be used for. I mean, the partners with BEPRO alone are fantastic. And you won't believe how many projects out there are utilizing BEPRO's protocol technology. It's really interesting. We did cover that in the intro video as well. Go check that out. But maybe we'll do a recap video perhaps at the end of this year just to reassess that and see what other new partners have been added since then. But I certainly definitely think the 4.7 cent marks are achievable. I'll probably maybe see that maybe in February, March. I truly think that. But I'm more interested obviously where we could get to. And I think once the bull market sort of takes control of itself, I truly am sticking with my 20 cent prediction. But let us know in the comments below what you think about that prediction and what is your price prediction for the end of the year, albeit it's only a couple of weeks away, so it's not probably that difficult to guess. But certainly the end of the bull run, really interested to know what you think. And then finally, to wrap this video up, guys, the RSIs and the MACDs here. Obviously in a swing mode here, MACDs switched over here on the 21st of December. And we've had a bullish momentum since. Really good to see that. The RSIs are looking very strong as well after this sort of bouncy mentality, certainly the last couple of weeks. But this is a strong point in my mind. Yes, it's been very much fluctuating for some time. But for me, I've been accumulating BEPRO left, right and centre at these points. Why? Because I love this 40 mark on a 14-day and a 28-day mark in general. We've also got the... why have they put that there? What's going on there? Let's just move that out of the way a second. There we go. Can see it now. So yeah, we're still on the 90-day at a respectable 47 as well. So in that middle ground. So for me, these are really good areas. Obviously, a few days ago would have been better, and I was buying then. But I'm not. I'm not bothered about buying it at this price or at this point either. It's very much under the 1 cent mark still. Something that we're hopefully going to achieve in the next few weeks. But to accumulate as much as you can. I'm trying to get to like the million mark. I mean, maybe many of you out there are already at that mark, but I had a good staking opportunity earlier this year with Qcoin, that finished. But I'm just trying to get to the million and see where we go from there, and then maybe force a bit more on top of that depending on the price. But I think in the future this is going to have an absolutely phenomenal story to it. We'll look back at these prices and laugh at them. But I think for me, like I said, this is a 5 to 10 year waiting game for me, and plenty of opportunity to accumulate in that time. And then finally, guys, indicators on the right hand side here, very nice finally to see green on that weekly. The monthly and the 3 monthly are very much dragging down almost into green areas. So once that happens, I think that kind of would entail that we're really into like a bull mode aspect of BEPRO and hopefully other markets as well. But we are seeing really positive signs both on all the RSIs, on the MACD, and the intake. Finally, some confidence coming in that we saw similarly to here. That's why I said let's see if it bounces back down to retest for an upward trend again. I'm not fully convinced we're fully out of this yet, but it's great to see the confidence kicking back in. I don't want to see a big trajectory like we saw here. I really want to see a nice gradual approach. If we can get that gradual movement, I think we can push for that 1 cent sooner rather than later. Let us know what you think about that in the comments below. Guys, I'm going to wrap that up there. Lots of videos to do. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next BEPRO video. And also, Merry Christmas to you all around the world. Bye-bye.